Well, hello everyone, and welcome to yet another Big Brain gameplay lecture here with your Professor FPS Group. We are playing XCOM 2 and continuing our talk on terrorism, and this week we are talking about terrorism and the interplay with the media. We're going to be talking about a couple things. We're going to be talking about what do we mean by the media? What is the media, right? You hear the media all the time. What is it? Second, how is the media used, not only by terrorists, but also by us that want to learn and stop terrorism? And finally, some problems with using the media, both on the terrorists' behalf and also on our behalf, imbibing of the media. So come along, won't you? We're going to have fun discussing playing XCOM 2. So let's get our class handed to us. What we need to talk about is, what is the media? What do we mean by the media? There are two categories of media, really, that we should be aware of. The first being, hey, we got a new engineer.
Squirrel!
The first being the old media, right? The old media being kind of like the traditional notion of what the media is, right? This is television, radio, paper, right? Print news, such as, you know, the newspaper or magazines or whatever you want to call them. That's what we mean by the old media, all right? Now, the old media has some disadvantages attached to it, right? Over, the decades, the old media has basically started to be controlled by these major conglomerates, right? So there's like 4 or 5 companies that own all of the major news stations within the country, which means, unfortunately, whenever you hear something from the old media, you're really only hearing the point of view of like maybe 4 or 5 different major companies. Now, that's not to say that individual reporters don't have their own unique points of view. They do, but everything is inherently influenced by the people that own those companies. However, one major advantage with the old media is that there are standards attached to it, right? Our very own Triforce Dad, the editor of these videos, the mod in the chat, is a reporter, right? He worked a newspaper. He could honestly probably teach this class better than I can right now. But the old media, right, has one major advantage. And that is that there are standards established, right, by the old media. You go to school, you get a degree, and you learn ethical standards. You learn certain reporting standards, certain bits of language how to be an unbiased reporter. That is a major advantage to the old media, is because those standards are established, you know that what you get from it is generally going to be very reliable. However, combine that with some of the disadvantages, right? It moves much slower. It is owned by major conglomerates, which do kind of have some sort of say in it, in what is said at times. The old media has been recently replaced by the new media. And before I get into that, we're going to watch this incoming resistance communication.
Fellow citizens, for 20 years, the Advent Coalition
this is relevant.
has worked tirelessly to repair the ravages and injustices of the old world. Under our stewardship, our cities prosper, our people flourish, and our world heals.
Radar contacts on approach to Haven Alpha 7.
Even as I speak to you today,
You've got incoming on approach!
Your
signal's breaking up.
Outlying territories to end this scourge once and for all.
They're right on top of you! Get your people out of there!
With your cooperation, we will overcome these radical elements and usher in another 20 years of peace and prosperity.
So first of all, before we get into this, what we just saw, right, was super relevant to what we're talking about. And is also kind of one of the things that talks about the old media, right? You just saw the advent, the aliens, the bad guys in this game. The people that we are actively resisting use the old media, television, as a way to propagate their message that they are the good guys. And they did that by showing like scenes of like the Advent helping people and handshakes and yeah, good job and we protect you and all of that. At the same time, I don't know if they showed the images of us being attacked, but they did say like we are going to strike back and projecting strength and all of that. However, this is one of the disadvantages of the old media as well, because it can be, since the barrier to entry to the old media is so high, if it is being controlled by the state, there is a chance that it can be used for propaganda purposes, which is what the Advent was using it for. They do it with the new media. We are going to fight back with the new media as we fight back with force this time. So what is the new media? Well, the new media is basically many of the platforms that the internet has enabled. Social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. The fact that you can, basically create a blog or a YouTube channel or stream on Twitch. This is the new media. What I am doing, I am getting a message out there in a way that what hasn't been available to, most of humanity for most of humanity. So what are the advantages to the new media that holds over the old media? Well, the barrier to entry is much lower. Anybody with a phone and internet connection can participate in the new media, right? It is definitely a more interactive form of media, right? You guys are interacting directly with me via the chat or via the comment section on YouTube or with the thumbs up button. So like and subscribe and hit that bell and all that. That's that interactive quality, right? It's super fast, super instant, right? With the fall of Kabul in Afghanistan very recently, if you're watching this video shortly after it comes out, we were seeing, things happening at Kabul airport as they were happening before they were ever reported by the old media, whether it was newspaper or even TV, right? I would see something on Reddit and then a day later I would see it reported on CNN. And so like the new media, much, much faster, much more interactive, more easily accessible. But the problem with it is that the problem with the new media is the same advantage as the new media. Everybody can use it and everybody has a voice, right? That's a great thing. However, not everybody has a voice worth listening. Wasn't the Arab Spring a good example? Absolutely it was. The Arab Spring took place on Twitter. All of that. That was driven mainly by social media. And Black Lives Matter protests, those were absolutely driven by the new media, right? What you were seeing. And then also the January 6th insurrection on the Capitol, driven by the new media. So it has advantages, it has disadvantages. Old media, slow, high barrier to entry, but has standards. The stuff you can get generally is very reliable, unless, of course, it is being run by a corrupt state organization that is using it to propagandize. I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to use it. New media, fast, easily accessible, but also can be used by anybody and doesn't have the same standards that the old media, kind of sets for itself. So that's what we talk about when we talk about the media. And now we're going to get into how the media is used, and we actually just saw an example of it with the way that the Advent used the old media against us to do this attack. And what do we need to do? Rescue at least 6 civilians, neutralize the alien strike force. Okay, so we are going to send, who do we have? We have Johanna Bacher, who is not French. She's something else, but I'm not sure what. I want big guy, tanky boy. You're gonna go right here and you're gonna save this person. Is that literally all we needed? Oh, fuck you. What is that? I don't like this at all. Okay, they knew where we are. How is the media used? The media is used by, let's first of all start with how the terrorists use media, all right, or how freedom fighters use media. Again, we're going to be talking about primarily terrorists in this lecture series. So when I say terrorists, though, know that I can also be talking about freedom fighters as well. Can I take a shot? I mean, I can take a shot. I can at least try. Might as well, right? Now let's gamble. Fire pistol, yeah. Let's gamble. Holy shit! There was a moment last episode where like we had like a 98% chance to hit. God damn it! We had like a 98% chance to hit and we missed, and we just nailed it with a 25% chance to hit. So miss it, you piece of shit! God. You're my tank. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, okay. I mean, at least you fired at the right guy. He's gonna die. What are you doing? I hate you. I hate this game. That's 31% chance. We're gonna gamble again. Again, remember how... Yes, dude, he's amazing. Guile is my best soldier. And now you are gonna finish them off. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Oh, it's There was a study done on how terrorist organizations use the new medium. The way that they do it is twofold, both in text and in sharing of like audio and visual media. When it comes to sharing text, basically the way they use the media is to kind of reinforce their religious doctrine. Right. Let's see. It is said religion dominates the written communications, with 4 out of every 5 tweets focusing on religious dogma. Clausen's team originally believed they would find postings dominated by practical communication and discussions with friends back home. Instead, they found Twitter feeds presenting unsophisticated, dogmatic religious statements. So whatever ideal that they're espousing, that's primarily what the text is going to be. However, what they use video and pictures to represent is very different. They don't post pictures of, oh, and you're disoriented, which means it's a negative 20. You're still going to hit. You better hit. Nope. Piece of shit. Most common visual images emphasize combat and territory gains. God damn it. Pictures depicting lifestyles are the next most common, emphasizing the glory of their movement. And the final frequency ranked video tweets focusing on innocent victims murdered by their enemies, portrayals of martyrdom followed, and the least common category, including images of retribution. Can you just murder this person right now? That would be great. Just straight up gank them. Though Guile would probably murder them, no problem. Now watch him miss with the 77% chance. No, Guile is amazing. So that's how the terrorists use new media, right? However, when it comes to how the media is used by us, by reporters, right? The way that the media portrays any story is through the use of what they call news frames. Oh, if I'd be there, I'd be in fire? Is that what that's saying? I don't want to be on fire.
Ow! Fire hot!
The prophecy will help. Ah, fire indeed hot.
Can you run and not get on fire? You can. Let's do that. And the news frames are as follows. The dominant news frame, the conflict news frame, the contention news frame, the investigative news frame, and the mythic news frame. These news frames essentially frame the story. All right. The dominant news frame says that this is an authoritative view over the story. The conflict says, oh, well, there are 2 sides to it, and here are 2 experts to talk about it. The contention is there are multiple sides. The investigative frame puts the media as kind of like the rooters out of corruption. And then the mythic portrays kind of like heroes, right, which are great for telling war stories. All of these news frames have problems. And this leads us to our third and final topic for today's video. So the problems, right? These frames are great when the story is clear. But the problem is that the story isn't always clear. Grenades solve all problems. Do it. Come on. Just grenades. Ambiguity is the bane of most news reporters' existence. All right? Nice. When it comes to reporting the news, they want to know who are the good guys, who are the bad boys, so that they can fit it neatly into one of those frames that I just mentioned. When it comes to, say, something like, I don't know, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, don't you dare. Oh, to save that person. When it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, to say that, oh, there's good guys and bad guys and we know who they are, it's harder than you think to be able to identify who the good guys and who the bad guys are. We'll get into the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in a later talk. 28, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. That makes me feel good. Put you here and just shoot. 84 and flanked. Yeah, you're dead. You're dead, buddy. There's 2 more. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Ambiguity, big flaw. Second flaw. Most of the new media has a very narrow focus on the domestic front, if you will. This is not good. This is not good at all.
He said not to panic!
Oh, Jesus Christ. What was that? He pointed at that guy? Then he healed, and now he's going to hit my, no. Fuck. That narrow focus on the domestic front sometimes makes it appear as if, makes it feel like terrorism only exists against America. And then finally, hey, we did it. We did it.
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
Finally, the biggest problem with the media is the fact that currently there's like this 24-hour news cycle. 24-hour news cycle is a big detriment to the media, to reporting on any sort of story, because facts can only come so fast. And all of that rest of the time needs to be filled by just kind of opinion and speculation and just mumbo jumbo that starts to shade and fog the story a little bit. Even though having access 24/7 is good, it can be a detriment. And that's kind of the gist of it, right? The media struggles with ambiguity. It focuses unfairly on the West as opposed to, greater, grander, worldwide issues. And that 24-hour news cycle really helps it suffer. That can be taken advantage by terrorist groups or freedom fighter groups like us in certain instances. And we will talk about that next time when we talk about force multipliers. And so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for joining me. If you like this sort of in-depth content, please consider subscribing, turning on notifications so that you never miss an episode. We record these over at twitch.tv/FPScra every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I hope to see you in chat. I have been your Professor FPScra, class dismissed.